How do women get what they want? They ask for it. That's exactly why I love the next Money Honey guest on the show today, because I have had the privilege of spending a lot of time with her behind the scenes. We've been on a journey through some coaching sessions around how to revamp her social media presence, how to take her brand awareness to the next level, and how to show up as a woman in business, as a woman in mortgages, and how to disrupt the market and really shake up some mindsets and educate and empower people. So I'm so excited to tell you the journey that we've been on and just highlight the phenomenal talent that this woman brings to our industry. It's just the stuff she's done and at what speed and what she's achieved at such a young age has been really impressive. And I just constantly am counting my lucky stars how she's chosen for me to be part of her journey and by her side, even if it's a small little glimpse of what she's doing in the grand scheme of things. I just feel really honored to be representing women like her. I remember when I first started the business, I think as I look year on year from 2020 to 2024, I had 0 female clients in 2020. In 2021, I probably had 1. 2022, I had 3. 2024, I've now definitely coached and helped in excess of 20 women probably now. And the majority have always been male clients. But as the years go on, I seem to be seeing more, or I'm attracting more and more women to my business. And I don't know if I do know it is a reflection on me, because we're always responsible for, what we're doing attracts the next thing, right? And I do believe that as I've been showing up and being more vulnerable and being more brave and being more vocal about my passion for helping women in this industry, I feel like that in turn has resonated with women and has helped them kind of be like, yeah, Roz, actually, I want to step up too, or I want to be a part of this movement. And so if anyone's been following me for longer than 2020, longer than 4 years, then you'll know the journey. If you've only just been following me for the last year, then you'll think that this has always been the journey, but that's not the case, right? You've only ever been seeing the latest post that I've put out. So I've not always been here. I've not always been running like female events and female podcasts and stuff like that. So that's something that I took responsibility for, and I'm so delighted to have had women like this Money Honey on today's show come along for the journey and really helping me stay accountable as well, and showing me that what I'm doing is having an impact, because it's women like her who's on the show today that make me keep going, because if I was to stop, I wouldn't have her in my life. So that makes me want to keep going. So I like keeping a bit of mystery to when I'm introducing a guest on the show, even though the show actually just says their name. So I know you know who it is, but I really like that in that mystery that I try to create. But the lady, the lovely, beautiful Hannie on the show today is going to be talking to us about how she built a mortgage broking business with fabulous women in her team, how she started at such a young age and worked her way up the ranks and worked her way up to having her own brokerage. And she became a leader by the age of 21. She's going to show us how she makes an impact for the next generation so through schools, and how she's an educator now with the work that she's doing in schools. And similar to me, she's also an ambassador for a female educational company called Female Invest. So she jumped on board, and it's just so exciting to see her on that journey as well. So she not only has her own business, she has a beautiful home, she has an amazing, fantastic team, but she's also making an impact to women and the next generation. So Hannie, let's hear it from her. We want to get Hannie on the show. How are you doing, Hannie?
Wow, what a introduction. I don't really know what to say now because I feel like my head's grown and after all those really nice things. Thank you. Thank you for having me. You know, it's yeah, I've always wanted to be part of the podcast. I've watched a lot of the your interviews with other fabulous women, so it's a little bit surreal being here. So thank you for having me.
Honestly, like we've had, yes, a lot of fabulous women on the show. I started with just 10 guests that I basically begged. I didn't have to beg, but I was like, I'm launching this podcast. Please be on my show. And I knew that it was a harder ask for them because they were more nervous about being on the show than I was asking. But yeah, I launched with 10 episodes back in, well, about 16, 18 months ago now. And yeah, here we are today. So thank you for taking your time to be here. Appreciate it.
Thank you. No, it's a pleasure.
So obviously I'm crazy about you, but for those people who don't know you, please can you share with the world who you are and what you do?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm Hannie Mason. I'm the proud founder of Mortgages with Hannie&Co. My new tagline where mortgages meet empowerment and education. So I was, you know, once a first time buyer. I'm now a homeowner. I'm now a commercial property owner, an investor, business owner, and I've turned my passion for finance into a thriving business that's hopefully changing the mortgage industry for the better. So in 2021, I took a leap of faith and I launched Mortgages with Hannie. And just 8 months later, I hired my first employee, where I officially became &Co. And just 3 years on, we've grown into a fabulous team of 6. Essentially united by one common goal, and that's to build brighter financial futures for everyone, and yeah, just become more female kind of empowered, you know, try and get more females in the industry, you know, that's kind of where we're going. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
A little bit about Hannie, a little bit, but tell us, Hannie, how you became a commercial property owner, because I know you're a mortgage advisor. You have your own residential, most beautiful house I've ever been to. When we did your content filming there, oh my God, I was like, drag me out of here, I am staying. But you then bought your own premises. Tell us how that journey went.
Yeah, so it's kind of something that I've always been in the mortgage world, and I'm obviously a big believer in owning property. I have nothing against renting, so I knew when I needed my first office space, which, you know, I absolutely did rent initially because, you know, I was on my own, and trying to build a business. Owning a property wasn't necessarily on the cards straight away, but I knew I didn't want to rent forever. As my team started to grow, I knew I had to upsize the office space, because my first rented office literally fit 2 people in it, just about a customer walking through potentially. So it was absolutely tiny. So I knew I had to upsize at some point. And I found the perfect spot in my local town, but it was up for rent. It needed a lot of work doing to it, and again, being in the industry and wanting to own property, I really didn't want to have to rent it. With all the work I had to do to it as well, it just didn't seem right, you know. It wouldn't have been a good investment for me. Anyway, so I approached the owner. It wasn't easy. It took a lot of back and forth, and a bit of convincing on my end, and I ended up being able to purchase the building. So I just feel like old me, you know, younger me, prior to being a business owner, would never have asked something like that. I never had the confidence to kind of to even realize that would be an option. But I guess you just, you know, now I realize that you know, don't know what situation people are in, and I guess if you put up a good case, you never know what's going to happen. So yeah, I asked to purchase the building, and managed to acquire it and refurbish it and I use that, the method I did it, that's kind of one of my examples when I'm helping other people do similar, where they're buying, refurbishing and then refinancing. Some people may have heard that term, and that's exactly what I did. So it's a great example when I'm using it with other people. So yeah, that's how I did that.
And that's why at the beginning, if you heard me start the show with how do women get what they want, they ask for it. And actually, I think the phrase we used, Hannie, when we did a speaking gig together was they ask for it just like a man does. And what you did there was, something was available to you, like these commercial premises, these offices for rent. And you were like, but I don't want to rent it, I want to buy it. So how do you do that? Well, you ask for it. Even though it's not on the menu, you ask for it, right? So that's what I really loved about your journey when you introduced yourself to me and you said, I want to work and I want to, not I want to work as in I want to work on my brand and I want to build my brand. And I got to know your story and your background. This is the theme that we really drew out from your story, wasn't it? It's that own it, ask for it. Don't be, if you don't ask, you don't get, and be bold and brave. Is that what you think? Are those words true to you? Do you think bold and brave?
Yes, absolutely. And, it took, like I said, it took a lot of courage to kind of get to that. It's not something I really would have done before. So, it was, I definitely pushed myself out of my comfort zone by doing that. But doing that one thing now has helped me, personally in every other aspect of my personal life, my work life, everything. I'm not afraid to ask now. I actually did it again on another property and it worked again. So yeah, I'm do it that first time, be bold, be brave, 100%, because honestly, it's not going to work out every time, but what's the worst that's going to happen? At least you tried, you asked, and when it does work, which it will eventually, if you keep doing it and you stay bold and brave, it will, I promise you, it will help in future decisions you may need to make. Yeah.
I love that. But why do you say that you wouldn't have done it before? Like when you say the younger Hannie, what changed and why wouldn't you have done it before?
I truly believe that I think being in this industry, being in finance as a female, it wasn't the easiest start, to my journey, and you do feel a little bit probably. Well, it's almost like constant imposter syndrome, really. Like, should I be here? Is this, I don't know, just almost you're lacking confidence a little bit, and it's hard. You go to these events and networking, and it's very, very, male dominant, which is not, it's not a bad thing, but it does kind of knock your confidence a little bit. And I think with every, in with just that, it's with every decision you might need to make, whether it's buying a property or hiring your first employee. It's a little bit like, oh, should I be doing? And I guess I had a tough start, in trying to get into this, industry, being a mortgage advisor, and the people I was surrounded by initially probably weren't the right people, and that knocked my confidence. And I think I'm kind of glad I went through those experiences, because I've learned a lot now, and I've really, things like surrounding yourself with the right people, surrounding yourself with, more female, people in finance. It really helps. And as I started to do that, my confidence just grew. And yeah, personally, I challenged myself more, and I did more things that I maybe wouldn't have done initially. And yeah, it wasn't easy. So it wasn't easy to start.
Yeah, thank you, Hannie, for being honest and brave about that, because I think from the outside looking in, you do come across really confident on social media. You've got your big, beautiful, bold blue eyes, and you've got a gorgeous smile, and you've got a nice house, and you've got lovely dogs, and you've got a fantastic family. And so everyone's like, wow, it's all right for her, isn't it? Yeah, she's like, she's got all those things. Does that come up much? And what would you say to that if people were like, yeah, it's all right for her?
Absolutely, yeah. It really was. It wasn't easy to get. I mean, obviously, my family. I'm very thankful to a lot of the people in my life. My family, my husband. I wouldn't, necessarily be here without the support of them and the network that I've built. So, don't get me wrong. I've definitely had the right people around me, and that have helped me get here. But no, it wasn't easy. I have had to work really hard, and it's not been an easy journey, and I want to stay, even though I might come across as though, yes, I've got a successful business and a nice house, which is all great. It's it wasn't easy getting here. It definitely I had challenges.
What did you have to?
Yeah.
What did you have to sacrifice? Like, what sacrifices did you make, and what challenges did you have to overcome to get here?
Absolutely. Oh, I mean, it's the pressure. Well, I mean, it's your personal life and work. Your personal life essentially become you don't have a life when starting a business. You face long hours, high stress, the pressure of making tough decisions. So balancing that, life and business is very overwhelming. And you've got the risk of burnout and things, got financial uncertainty. I left a very secure job that I really enjoyed, but I just had too much. I was too eager I just wanted to do more, but it was it's a fantastic job and I was secure. And so kind of leaving that, the financial impact to that, I had to really prepare myself to do that. Staying ahead of the competition, that adds, to the struggles. But I guess through, resilience and adaptability, those challenges shape you into a stronger person, a stronger leader. But yeah, it's not easy. There are a lot of challenges, and I think preparing for them helped me. It wasn't as simple as I just decided one day that I was gonna leave my job, set up a business, and hope for the best. It wasn't. It took a lot of planning, a lot of conversations with my husband, which luckily I did have. I talk about female empowerment and everything, but he did, he helped, he really pushed me to do this. So I'm so thankful for him, because I do think if I was maybe on my own, I would have lacked that confidence. But again, just surrounding myself by the right people got me into, pushed me into doing it, but planning before I did it, to prevent as many of those challenges as possible.
Definitely planning, the mental capacity, the emotional side of things, absolutely. And sometimes we don't even notice the challenges that we're overcoming, because we're like, we just get on with it, and we're just like, yeah, let's just keep going. So obviously it's all been worth it in the end, Hannie. So what have been your highlights of creating Mortgages with Hannie & Co, and everything else you've done?
Yeah, I mean, my main, we're in terms of business wise, we're 5-star rated. Customers love us. We win awards. That's all great. But what I'm really proud of is the team I've got around me. We're a really powerful team together. We work so well. You almost feel sometimes you're not at work. Because everyone's just working towards the same thing. We just really motivate each other, and want, we want to help as many people as possible, in every way possible. So my biggest achievement is definitely the team that I've got now. Not to say I've had struggles with staff. So that is one of the many challenges of being a business owner. I've not got lucky, I say I have got lucky now with my team, but I've definitely had some challenges, and it's taken me a few years to get to this so-called, perfect team that I now, I now have. So yeah, it wasn't easy with that side of things, but now that is definitely one of my biggest achievements. The people that are in the business are just fabulous.
And honestly, I so relate to that. I really, really do. I think loads of business owners listening to this will be like, yeah, that team is the hardest part. So,
Absolutely.
what have been goals do you have? Sorry, yeah. What goals do you have that you have not yet achieved? What's next for you?
So what I'm working on, I feel like now as so for my mortgage business, you know, we've just taken on our sixth mortgage advisor, and I feel like that side of things is, you know, really successful. We've got a really good client base, we've got returning clients, and we're bringing in new clients every day. So I feel like I'm ready now to take the next step, which is something I've always wanted to do, and I've been dipping my toe in over the last few years, but definitely more the education side of things. So I've recently joined become a part of like an education platform that we essentially go into schools, we support as employers, so in trying to encourage people into the finance world. So that's kind of one part of the journey, trying to get more people in this industry, more females in this industry, because I don't know about you, but when I was 16, I'd never thought I'd be working in finance. So I want to kind of, that's a target area for me. But also the education side in finance, you know, I understand the challenges of navigating finances at a young age, you know, because I've been there myself. So I want to use my experience and you know, my business to help the younger generation and kind of develop skills and grow with their finances, you know, whether it's budgeting, even just general, you know, careers in general. So that's my focus at the minute. Yeah.
I love that. Very, very similar to, well, we've obviously been discussing this for ages now, but we both are school ambassadors. We go in and we empower the next generation. And we're both also brand ambassadors for Female Invest. So would love to know why that, and what are you doing within that sector as well?
Yeah. Absolutely. So what I really love about females, so my world is mortgages and property. That's not to say I don't, I'm not interested in the investment side of things, you know, whether it be ETFs, you know, pensions, all that is still just as important. And what I really love about Female Invest is I absolutely love the platform because it's so modern and relatable. It's, you know, it's not how you think, it's not the stereotypical, oh, you know, investing, boring. It's fun, it's empowering, and I really think Female Invest have done a really good job in and continue to do a really good job, because there's still a lot of work to do. You know, we're absolutely not there, but they've really kind of hit the ground running when they've set up with the investment side of things. You know, I've got their books actually. Girls Just Want to Have Impact Funds, and Girls Just Want to Have Funds. If anyone's not got those books, highly recommend. But I just think that's you know, just as important. Educating yourself in the investment side of things, you know, not just property, I think is really important. And yeah, I think Female Invest is, it's easy to understand, and you know, it's fun.
I love that. The fact that you're like, yeah, it's easy to understand and fun. I don't think finances have ever been explained in that way. And yeah, we're both ambassadors. So I'll get the link in the show notes if anyone wants to actually sign up and learn more about that. It's yeah, we've got discounted codes, so it's a great way to just get onto the platform, learn, and yeah, just kind of play, you know, get a bit of money. That's not a huge risk that you can play with. I think with mortgages it's a massive risk because, you know, it's a big lump sum, but of course, there's that long-term benefit and investment side of things. And then with investing in like stocks and shares and things like that, you could maybe play with a smaller pot just to learn. Education is the key, like education, education, education. So I'd like to turn things to discussing a little bit about your journey with like the branding and the social media content side of things, Hannie. Obviously we're seeing a lot more mortgage advisors today and financial advisors take that stage on social media and release content and videos. In 2020, when I first started the business, you didn't see as many brokers doing this. Slowly, I'm working my way through educating as many people as I possibly can. And it's been a pleasure working with you. So tell us about your journey and how you've taken to the social media scene and what you do with that in your business.
Yeah, so my journey with social media is almost, I essentially started my business on social media. So when I set up my business, it was literally in the middle of COVID. So all I had was my mobile phone, my laptop, and an internet connection. I couldn't go out and see people. I couldn't, I was literally working under my stairs at me, in my house at a tiny desk. So all I had was social media, which is why I really believe in it. I feel like I've had a lot of work to do, but I've always tried to do as much as I can on social media, and that is what started my business. So it really does work. I think where I want to be on social media, obviously I am running a business, so the lead generation is nice, but also I want to, part of me kind of trying to educate, I want to do that through social media as well. I think there's, people do read a lot and learn, it's a little bit of a minefield when it comes to finances online. So I think using that tool in the right way, I think it will really help people. And so yeah, I try and kind of post helpful, not necessarily I'm not trying to sell myself. That just kind of does it naturally. But that's not what I use social media for. I use it to educate, whether it's someone wanting to buy a house now, 5 years, 10 years time, whether it's they want to help their children, that's kind of what I want to do. So I try as much as I can to do kind of information based posts. I've done that for quite a long time, and I think the biggest change that I've made on my social platform these last few months, since working with you, Roz, is making it a little bit more personal. I do think everything I've done in the past has been helpful, but maybe it could definitely have been better. And I think people like more real life, and that's where, I want to be more honest. I want to show my, this is the journey I've been on. It hasn't been easy. This is what, I want to share real life experiences. I think that is more helpful to people. People can relate to it more than just information style posts and things like that. So that's the biggest change I've made to my social media the last few months, is trying to make it more real life, if that makes sense. And yeah, it's doing very well.
Yes. Oh my God. I am obviously you have been like one of my star pupils, as in I tell you what to do, you do it, and then it's done. And then you're like, Roz, I've got a lead. I'm like, cool. All right, then just keep going. You've just literally been embracing and there's things that because when you first came to me, I was like, oh my God, she looks fabulous on social media and she's clearly got content. Like, what am I gonna, I kind of had a bit of imposter syndrome myself. I was like, what am I going to teach her that she's not doing? Right. And then when we were going through our sessions, I was like, oh, you're not doing this. Okay. Yeah, try it. Because if you try it, I think you're going to get some leads. And then you were like, oh yeah, Roz, oh my God, I didn't know this. And we went through sessions like ChatGPT and some stuff with personal stories and getting that personal brand. But then I remember this was so funny, like just within a matter of weeks. Now, when I say weeks, guys, like we probably had only met 4 times. That's a total of 4 hours. Okay, that's like 1 hour a week. And immediately I was like, Hannie, I think you're ready. I don't know how you're going to react, but I have got a speaking gig for you. I've got this women in finance event, no, women in business event, and they've asked me to be a speaker, but I've actually declined the request. I don't think I should speak at this event. I think you should speak at this event, and I'll come to support you at this event. And oh my God, Hannie was like, do you remember?
Yes, I was, well, yeah, I wouldn't have had the confidence to do that if I hadn't have spent 4 hours with you. It was a lot, but yeah.
The fact that you did that within 4 hours, and I remember like it was a bit too soon, but at the same time I was like, I believe in her. I can see her doing this. And who am I to hold back? So sometimes as a coach you have to push the right amount, but at the same time you have to probably step back when you think, actually, I don't want to scare her off either. So anyway, we ended up going to this event, this women in business event, right? She's there dressed up in her branding, I'm there in my branding, everyone, and she gets on stage. She's absolutely killing it. She obviously gets given extra time to stay on stage because everyone's asking questions. She's getting leads while she's actually on the stage. She's actually answering live inquiries. And I'm sat there like, oh my God, she's like literally she's underwriting some mortgage business whilst we're on the stage. And then on top of that, she wins a freaking award. I was like,
hey. Sorry. It was really funny. It was a great day. Yeah, it was. But I must say, you obviously really, helped me in advance, and yeah, I couldn't have done it without you. So thank you. But yeah, it was a fab day.
And this is what I mean about branding is, having so you had a great social media presence. You were gaining already like quite a few followers and great views. So I was like, well, how do I take this girl to the next level? Because like she's already killing it. So sometimes it gives me a challenge as the coach or the brand strategist to be like, right, what do I see in her that she's not doing? And sometimes I have to stretch my own capacity. And I'm like, right, okay, this girl obviously knows how to post on social media. I'm going to extract the personal brand story, and then I'm going to expose her to other things to do. So, for example, we did the public speaking event, and then we also came to one of my VIP dinners, didn't you? Tell me a little bit about your experience of that.
So that was really interesting, because I think it comes back to what I always say about being surrounding yourself by the right people, and that was exactly that. It was a dinner with literally other people with the same mindsets, the same goals, slightly same industries, slightly different industries, all essentially wanting and doing the same thing. So it was just fantastic to connect with other like-minded people and bounce ideas off each other. Still that one dinner, it's the first time I met some people and that I speak to now, still to this day. I've literally met them once, and I feel like I could approach any of them, and hopefully vice versa with a question or wanting some advice, and I just it's just surrounding yourself by those types of people. It was fantastic just off one dinner.
Yeah, you definitely made an impact to the people. Like everyone was like speaking about you as well. They're like, oh my God, what an impressive woman, like so ambitious, and like she's done so well and she's been so successful. And I think you then spoke to another one of my clients and like passed over a bit of business. So just from that dinner, like everyone just like doing business with each other. And that's what a brand is. A brand is not just a a good social media post. Any mortgage broker can post about the latest rates on the market, but you're going into schools, you're a brand ambassador, advocating financial investments for women. You post educational content yourself. You invest and actually do the do yourself. You have a residential property and a commercial property, and you actually are building a business for other mortgage brokers to enter the market. You're not doing it just on your own. You're empowering, you're an employer. You're actually providing jobs for people. Like, do you ever just stop to think, Hannie, and think, I just did that?
No, it's not until you've just listed all that out. I thought, oh, wow, that's a lot.
That.
So yeah, there's a lot of things on that list.
Hannie, that's what we've been. That's the journey you've been on, and you've taken yourself 99% of your way there. You did that, and if the 1% means that I just paint it out in a picture for you to see, sometimes that's all a coach does. It's like, this is what your picture looks like. You painted it. Like I've just, I've painted it, but you made it. And I think that's the journey that I've learned on being with you. It's like, I take a lot of brokers and property investors and property sources or property solicitors. There's a lot of different types of clients that I have, but I take them from nothing to something. Whereas I've got fewer clients that are already something to something greater, from good to great. And that's, an even tougher challenge because you're already so well established and so successful. It's those little marginal gains, but you are the brand. You are already a self-made brand. Like, there's nothing there that you didn't have already within you.
Thank you.
So for the ladies listening, because we're going to have to wrap there. I could talk to Hannie for a very long time, as I do with all my guests, but I like to keep these nice and short and sweet for commuters, for people on their lunch break. So as we wrap things up, Hannie, what would you say to any woman listening to this right now? What would you want them to take away from the podcast with Hannie?
Whether you're a business owner or aspiring business owner, property investor, financial investor, applies to everyone, I guess. Trust your instincts, stay resilient, don't be afraid to take risks, build a strong network around you, support others, women especially, and always keep learning. Your unique perspective is your greatest asset, so embrace it.
Oh my gosh, like that was magical. That if you didn't take your pen and paper out to write that down, press rewind and write it down, because that was that is tattoo worthy. That literally could be a tattoo across my entire leg. Loved that. I love that, Hannie. And well, there we have it. I don't want to add anything to that. I don't want to spoil that beautiful honey at the end, that sweet ending, other than just, the drill, ladies. If you're listening, it's all about positive pollination, which means if you like the show, if you didn't fall in love with Hannie, you probably weren't listening. I don't know what you were listening to, and so I would love for you to somehow, I always tell you what positive pollination looks like, but why don't you tell me? You do something that you think, actually, this is worthy of, what is it? A reshare, a message, a hug, a like what is that? Do you want to, is your daughter interested in getting into mortgages and maybe needs to hear this podcast? Or, did your cousin have a bad experience within the finance industry and actually wants some more inspiration? Like, whoever needs to hear it, just know that obviously this is a free platform that I've created for women to come and tell their stories. And that one story could make a difference to that one listener. So please don't hold it back. Don't hold that gift back to that next person that could be listening to this, because you just don't know who needs to hear this message today. So that's why I want to say another big, huge thank you to Hannie for being generous with her time and for being a money honey. Thank you, Hannie.
Thanks so much for having me.